Okay, so music section this week. No follow-ups, no corrections, but we do have a bunch of other things in new music. We have Ice Nine Kills dropped a pretty great new single. We have Korn, like I said in the intro for the proper episode. Korn is doing something that they've been trying to do for 30 years, plus some pretty big news just dropped this morning before I started filming about Dream Theater. So let's talk about all of that. Welcome, nerds, to the music news for the week. This is a chunk taken out of the much larger full-length show over on the main channel, youtube.com/generallynerdy. Here in the music section, we like to talk about recent releases, upcoming releases, as well as tour dates being announced, festivals being announced, just regular music-associated news and the whatnot. This week in news, this stuff happened. Like I said, no follow-ups, no corrections, but we do have a fair bit of new music to get through, so let's start there. First piece of new music comes from Green Day, and it seems the shtick is not dead just yet. New single called The American Dream Is Killing Me comes from their new album called Saviors, which is set for a release on January 19th of 2024. It's so nice when multimillionaires complain about the system being broken. Like, you used this system to get to where you are, and you live a pretty comfortable lifestyle because of it, and somehow you don't enjoy that. Okay, but I think they're also, so the song is fairly well done if you take their ridiculous politics and their ridiculous mindset out of it. The song is fairly well done, and it's basically what you would expect from Green Day these days. But the video itself, I feel like they're really mixing their metaphors. This is what happens when you have bad politics that you don't fully understand yourself, is that you try and make a statement going one direction, and you really make it going against what you actually believe. It would seem that they're drawing a metaphor between the zombies in this video and average people, and then at one point they start shooting zombies. I don't think that's what you meant to say, Billie Joe Armstrong. Maybe it is. Maybe you don't like the plebes anymore. Maybe you see yourself as above them because more of them seem to be coming out as kind of conservative, at the very least not crazy liberal, and so that makes you uncomfortable, so you want them to die? I don't know, maybe that's the message, and they're not mixing metaphors. Either way, the video's a little broken, the song's fairly well done, but the message is garbage. Then our next piece of new music comes from Duff McKagan, longtime bass player for none other than Guns N' Roses. He's doing some solo work. This single is called I Just Don't Know, featuring Jerry Cantrell. Third solo record called Lighthouse is where this one comes from. It is out now. Lyrics for this, kind of trite. There's just a little, it's well done, it's well performed. I didn't know Duff could sing so well. I haven't listened to any of his solo stuff up until this point, but I just feel, I don't know, the Jerry Cantrell addition to the performance kind of goes unnoticed. If you're just listening and you're not watching the video, then you don't really know that he's there. So kind of another wasted potential for a guest appearance. But overall, a pretty solid track, and definitely if you're into throwback rock, if you're into this kind of radio alt-rock-ish stuff, then you're definitely going to be into this. Nothing really glaringly wrong about this, and except for from a lyrical standpoint, and at that point, you're kind of just splitting hairs. So, mild recommend for sure. Our next piece is Rivers of Nile has put out a new single called Hellbirds. Fun deathcore? Sure, this is almost like some sort of weird amalgamation of like Toxic Holocaust and Slaughter to Prevail, maybe not quite that heavy on the deathcore side of things, but either way, these guys, the lyrics of the song, the video that they've made to go along with it, all just kind of lean towards this very fun vibe, the surface level very fun vibe. There could be something a little deeper there that I'm not quite getting on my initial listen, but either way, it's very well done, very well produced, and the video just makes these dudes seem like they would be great fun to hang out and have a couple beers with. So if you're looking for a little bit of a break in the seriousness of your deathcore, but you still want to keep it heavy, Rivers of Nile is a great band to do that with, and this song Hellbirds is a fairly good way to go. So yeah, definitely a recommend for this one. Our next one is the Ice Nine Kills track that I talked about a moment ago. The name of the song is Meet and Greet. The video and lyrical basis for the song, I think, is a good way to say that, is Silence of the Lambs this time around. So going with the horror theme that we've been covering over the last 3 records, this is the 3rd record that this one comes from. This is also the conclusion for the video series that they've been doing for these albums. Started, I think, actually with the 2nd record, so the first one didn't really factor in as much, but it was presented, strangely enough, at a fan viewing as a completed movie, so that's pretty cool. Spencer Chamberlain, lead singer for Ice Nine Kills, is a big horror fan, and the rest of the band, I would imagine, are too. That's why they're letting him do what he's doing. But the more these guys write music, the more they put out this kind of stuff, and the more they really get into finding the voice that they have, the better they get. This song, I would put it on the same level as, oh, and I'm gonna brain fart the single from the last record that I really loved, the Pet Cemetery based one. But either way, this is on the same par as that. Probably not quite as good, but pretty dang close as that single. So I just have great hopes for the future of Ice Nine Kills, and this song is a prime example of why. Next track, I just couldn't not talk about this one. Dragon Force has released another new track. I know we've done Dragon Force, and I kind of say the same thing over and over when we talk about these guys, but this time I honestly couldn't pass up this release. It is Power of the Triforce, so it is a Zelda-themed song. The video, not so much. It's Swords and Sorcery related video, but not directly to Zelda, probably because licensing reasons, but they still keep all of the Zelda references in the lyrics, so that's a thing. Dragon Force plus Zelda equals kind of amazing. Still on the shorter side for a Dragon Force song, but they got their speed back, so that's always a good thing. Still not a fan of the new vocalist. This guy just is almost where he needs to be, but definitely has a lot of work to do, and I hope he's doing it. But still, a crazy fun track, just super nerdy all around. You've got power metal, you've got Nintendo references, you've got specifically Zelda references, and dragons and magics and wizards and sorcery, and yeah, this is just my bread and butter all over, and probably should be yours to a certain degree as well. It's definitely worth a listen. It's a whole hell of a lot of fun. Go listen to the new Dragon Force, Power of the Triforce song. Next new piece of music comes from a band that I honestly love and somehow didn't see when this song, well, no, I take that back. I did see, I just didn't realize it was 2 weeks ago. So we could have put this 2 episodes back when it launched, maybe even last week's episode more appropriately, because I think it came out between 2 episodes ago and last week. Either way, the name of this new Lord of the Lost song is One Last Song. This whole new record, the Blood and Glitter, I think is, I didn't write it down in the notes because we've talked about it previously, so I didn't think it was relevant. Either way, the new record seems to be a lot more leaning into the goth side of their sound and a little less into the metal side of their sound. Not a whole lot of aggressive vocalists, and I did not write any of the band members' names down, and I'm sorry, I don't know any of them off the top of my head either, so I'm just going to refer to them as their roles, but the vocals don't really get into the more aggressive side of things. They're just a lot more introspective and kind of that forlorn tone that he takes a lot when they're doing the more gothy stuff, and I'm still here for it. It's not exactly the Lord of the Lost sound that I fell in love with, but I'm still in love with it, if that makes sense. But yeah, good one. This is one that I think they're writing for their funerals, or for, you know, just the general, hey, people don't really write funeral songs anymore, so let's do that. And it works. It is somehow thematically appropriate for the guys in Lord of the Lost. Yeah, I'm here for this one, absolutely. This is a wholehearted recommend for Lord of the Lost. One Last Song. Go check it out. And then our final piece of new music has to do with Kat Von D somehow. Apparently Kat Von D has a music career these days, and she just put out a single called Vampire Love. Yeah, trying to be goth, really just fodder for going out to the club. I'm not much for club music just for the sake of club music. I do like techno, I do like EDM, EBM, all of this stuff that would be considered club music to a certain degree. But, and also like hip hop and that kind of stuff, I'm also a fan, but like this is not really a shining example of any of those things. This is just a pretty decent producer, found a good beat that people are gonna move to, gave it to a name who wanted to get into the music industry. We've seen this happen before. See Paris Hilton, see, oh, I can't think of her name, redhead, whatever. Yeah, so previously this has been a thing that's happened. Jennifer Love Hewitt even got in on this back in the 90s. And I just don't know that Kat Von D really has the pull to make this a worthwhile venture these days. And just the song is so meh. There's nothing great about it. There's nothing really to write home, nothing exceptional. So this is a pass. I'm gonna have to say pass for sure. Now let's get into the tours and festivals portion of the music section. So kicking things off in this section, we have Staind has announced that they're going to be doing a North American tour. They're going to get support from Seether, I Prevail, The Struts, and Asking Alexandria. It's only an 8-day tour. It starts April 18th, runs through May 4th. Not a whole lot of places they're going, but I would imagine they are going to probably sell out all 8 of these dates. It's part of supply and demand. There's not a whole lot of supply, so don't give into it much, and then you create more demand than you have supply, and that also explains the supporting acts. They're kind of a little bit bigger names in the mainstream music scene these days than Staind is, I would say. I don't know, that's kind of a iffy territory there, because they do have years of pull behind them, but just recently they're a little less relevant, so I don't know, very interesting situation, but that's what it is. Let's move on. Hellfest 2024 has been announced. I did not, for whatever reason, write the dates down because we're talking more about the bands, the big names that have been announced to be part of it. But the dates have been announced, so if you're watching, I will put them on screen right here. And some of the announced that are involved are Megadeth, Bruce Dickinson, the Foo Fighters, Queens of the Stone Age, and so many more. This is an annual thing that really just is an experience that I wish to experience sometime before I die. Just huge announcement, Hellfest 2024. I believe tickets will be on sale soon, but they are not yet on sale. I think they're doing some sort of like pre-sign up for the tickets. So follow the link in the description to make sure I'm not a liar, and let's continue on, shall we? Next, after Hellfest, is Blink-182 have announced the obvious tour that they were going to do because they're putting out a new record. It's an arena North American tour. Support from Pierce the Veil. Starts June 20th, runs through August 15th. Tickets are on sale. Once again, follow the link in the description if you so desire. From there, let's talk next about The Devil Wears Prada. This one is going to be a second leg of the tour that they're currently on, Devil Wears Prada and Fit for a King. We talked about this when it was initially announced. The name of the tour is the Metalcore Dropouts. The new leg starts January 16th in Kansas City, runs through February 24th in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Tickets for this are also on sale. You have to go to the Bands in Town page to get tickets for it, but it is there. And then our final piece of touring news has to do with Greta freaking Van Fleet, because people love this band, so we have to cover them. Starcatcher Tour, North American leg, because they're currently on it in Europe right now. It is going to be 12 dates starting April 27th in St. Louis, Missouri, running through May 21st in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And tickets for that one, I believe, are also on sale, so go check it out. That's what we got for tours and festivals. Let's talk some regular-ass news. Music is a huge section this week. Regular-ass news, we're going to come out the gate with the big piece, and that is Korn, after 30 freaking years, finally have a deal with Adidas. That's right. Previously, when you've seen those promo shots of them from the 90s where they're all wearing Adidas tracksuits, Well, those were not officially licensed tracks. They got a bunch of free merch from Adidas back in the day, so I'm not saying they got snubbed by the guys at Adidas, but they did not have an official merchandising deal, which means they did not get paid to promote Adidas. Adidas was just appreciative that they kind of sort of promoted them on their own, so they gave them a bunch of free stuff. In the late 90s and into the early aughts, Korn signed a deal with Puma, I believe it was approximately 3 to 5 years or so, where they were only wearing Puma gear. So if you see promo shots of them wearing Puma jumpsuits and whatnot, that's why that is. But that ended a while ago, and they haven't really had that kind of merchandising deal since. Well, Adidas has come back to them with something huge. Not only are they doing a proper merchandising deal, meaning they're going to pay them to promote their brand, but also they have Korn exclusive items that they're going to be releasing with the Korn logo as well as the Adidas logo on the clothing. Shoes, sweaters, the tracksuits, all of this stuff is getting the Kornification, if you will. It is going to be limited release for these items, meaning a couple of things. One, it's going to be rather expensive for the items, and two, it's going to be exclusive. The only way to get your hands on any Korn merchandise directly from this Adidas launch is if you are a member at the Adidas website, and or you have the app and you do your membership through that. You don't have to go exclusively through the website. You don't have to go exclusively through the app. You can do one or both. Ideally, if you have one, you have both. I didn't look that far into the details because $180 for a hoodie is a little expensive for me. So yeah, but yeah, you got shoes. It's pretty freaking cool. If you're a big Korn fan, if you're a big Adidas fan, you're probably going to want to check this out. Link in the description if you are curious for not just the website but also the announcement trailer over on the YouTube. From there, we have an interesting announcement from the guys over in Dimmu Borgir, the symphonic black metal pioneers, if you will. Pioneer, maybe not the greatest term. The people who made it famous? Whatever. They're announcing that they're releasing a covers album. It is going to span the course of their career, because I just apparently did not realize that some of the music on those Dimmu Borgir records were covers necessarily. I don't pay that close attention to the liner notes when I'm listening to the very little bit of black metal I do listen to. The name of the record is Inspiratio Profanis. It will be out December 8th from Nuclear Blast Records. No single has been released for it just yet, but most of this music has already been released on their albums up to this point, so you can go check that out, I guess. Otherwise, follow the link in the description if you want to see the announcement. Or no, it's one of the music videos, or maybe it's the announcement trailer, I can't remember. So much research this week that it's all blurring. Either way, there's a YouTube link in the description, go check it out. From there, our final piece of regular ass news, we have Dream Theater has announced that they will be re-teaming up with Mike Portnoy, founding drummer for the band. They are also announcing that they're going to be in the studio in 2024. This will be the first record that Portnoy has been on for Dream Theater since 2009. Their current drummer, who was their drummer since Portnoy left, is Mike Mangini. He has made an official statement saying that he is not, there's no hard feelings. They've all made statements individually. Petrucci and such have all made statements individually saying, like, this is just kind of the natural things, the way things that should have been or should have evolved. I can't, words. No hard feelings is the gist of all of that rambling just now, though. So Mangini is going to move on to other projects, has nothing but love for the guys have nothing but love for him. Just Portnoy is the guy for the job a little bit more than Mangini is. Mangini said very explicitly in his statement that I was just the guy who they paid to play drums. I was not filling any other role in this band, which Mike Portnoy, being one of the founding members, filled many other roles besides just the guy hitting the skins. So there it is. That's what we have for regular ass news here in music. Which brings us to the final portion, and that is suggestions. This week's musical suggestion, the final suggestion for the month of October, because when we come back next week, it will be November 1st. So, final musical suggestion for the month of October. We're going to go with the Nightmare Before Christmas soundtrack. Not just any version of the soundtrack, though. The 2006 re-release specifically, because we have a bunch of extra music with the 2006 re-release. Some popular bands did some songs for it. I'm sure you've heard them. Standout tracks are from that portion of the record. We have Marilyn Manson doing This Is Halloween, which is honestly pretty great, like almost equal to the Danny Elfman version, and that's a really hard thing to do, so check it out. Also, She Wants Revenge doing Kidnap the Sandy Claus is kind of amazing as well. Just all over this 2006 reissue of the record with the bonus discs and all that stuff is definitely worth a listen, so go check it out. That is your suggestion for the week. Once again, this is just the music section. There is a much longer show called The Week in Nerddom over on the main channel, youtube.com/generallynerdy. Go check out the entire show or just subscribe here and do all of the things. Appreciate your faces, nerds. Before we go though, always remember that if it's generally nerdy, it's probably here